Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we're just trying to get a little bit of science. So let's go ahead and do a maneuver at the periapsis here. We're just going to drop the apoapsis down a little bit and see where Gilly is going to be. Gilly is going to be over here. So we are going to need to delay this burn pretty substantially if we want to actually have an encounter. Like, we may need to delay it a full orbit, realistically. Yeah, there we go. That's an encounter. Barely. There we go. How's that encounter look? A little wonky, but I can work with that. I mean, it's not like we're short on delta V. I can always just make that equatorial. In fact, we could maybe mess with that a bit here. That was too much. Far too much. Okay, that'll do. 31 kilometers. We can mess with that later on, though. I'm okay with this. So this node is going to be in 25 days. So let's go ahead and warp to that. So we will, I guess, warp here because we need to do a full orbit. And then we can warp to next maneuver? Maybe? I hope? That'd be nice. So we do have a very solid connection to the KSC. That's good. And then the question is, what final parking orbit do we want to do for this thing? Well, realistically, I kind of want it to be, like, as far out from Gilly as it can get, or maybe just back in an orbit like this. So maybe we escape from Gilly and then put it back in a wide orbit around Eve. That might be a thing. Yeah, that's probably going to be our best bet, realistically speaking. Okay, so this is going to be in 1 day. So let's go ahead and warp to the next maneuver. Ignore this. This appears to be bugged. It's actually, we did actually get data. So let's go ahead and warp forward a bit. This is going to be a 3-second burn. So 1.5 seconds is when we want to burn this. So about then. Okay, how's that encounter looking? I can work with that. Do we want to just stick with a flyby? What's our return trajectory look like? Basically identical. Maybe we just stick with the flyby. Don't even orbit it. Yeah, I think that's probably best. So that's going to be 7 hours, or 7 days, 1 hour, 15 minutes. So we're going to be in there for about half an hour. Let's go ahead and warp to there. We'll be there shortly. Half an hour is plenty of time to get our data, transmit it, and get back. Hello, Gilly. Temperature scan, atmospheric pressure scan, gravity scan. I'm also going to go ahead and orient towards the sun a bit so that our solar panels are a little bit more effective. Something more along the lines of this. Once we get there, I'm just going to warp quickly to freeze that. There we go. Solar panels should be a wee bit more effective now, I hope. We'll atmospheric pressure scan as well, and we'll transmit everything back. And yeah, we're going to have some electric charge issues, but escaped the gravitational influence of Eve, initiated the first flyby of Gilly. Do we want to enter orbit just to get the milestone? Maybe it's worthwhile. I mean, it's not like we're short on delta V. It's not like it's going to take much delta V. Oh my, that takes almost nothing. Please allow me to keep doing this. Thank you very much. So, I mean, I'm not actually interested in inverting the orbit. I'm only interested in getting as tiny of an orbit as we can. SAS on. We'll head to the maneuver node. I'm going to physics warp that turn over, just to make that go a little bit quicker. Perfect. Warp to that next maneuver. It's going to be a 13-second burn, so we want to burn this at 7.5 seconds. I'm just going to let the reorient happen a little bit, and now we'll warp forward a bit manually. And we burn right now. Good enough. Absolutely good enough. Now, we're going to break orbit again. And what's this final orbit look like? Sure, that'll be fine. Not very different from Gilly's orbit, but different enough that we're going to be able to hopefully get to the apoapsis without incident. That is the idea here. So we'll head over to that maneuver node, and we got our milestone for entering the orbit of Gilly, 50,000 space bucks, 2 science, and 3 reputation. Fantastic, and I didn't delete it. I still didn't delete it. Now I deleted it. Oh boy. So let's go ahead and get on over there. This is going to be in 3 minutes, so I'm just going to warp forward manually. Burn time of 0.9 seconds. So very little burn time here. I'm just going to burn it at 0. Good enough. Okay. Now, at this apoapsis, we're going to want to burn as much as we can. Like so. Until we just get as big of an orbit around Eve as possible. That is too much, clearly. That is perfect. But I'm going to add in a little bit of margin for error here. And I'm just going to bring that back down to 80,000 kilometers. That'll be fine. Perfect. Okay, to that maneuver node. And then we'll just warp forward. No, not Gilly. Warp to next maneuver. Warping at 50x because we're still over Gilly. We are quite low over Gilly, in fact, which is why it's warping so slowly. You can also see our maneuver node has drifted a little bit, but that's okay. We're not really in any sort of a time crunch for these burns. We just need them to happen at a time in the future. Because otherwise, I mean, we're not likely to hit Gilly, I guess, in future revolutions. No, we're absolutely likely to hit Gilly in future revolutions. It's just going to take a while. It would absolutely happen. But let's just head over to our maneuver node again, since we apparently missed that. There we go. This is going to be burnt at 12 seconds. And off we go. And then, of course, we're going to have one more burn at this apoapsis. And we're going to do the same thing, just circularize. Do we want to change our inclination? I don't think so, actually. I think this inclination is fine. Okay, let's push up a little more. There we go. Perfection. We'll add a maneuver there. And then we'll just bring this up to 80,000 kilometers as well. I mean, this is very, very close here. I'm going to go ahead and say that's good enough. So we will go ahead and head over to that maneuver node. Physics warp that turn. Excellent. And we'll warp to that next maneuver. And we are basically done with this probe at this point. We have escaped the gravitational influence of Gilly. Thank you for the tiny amount of everything. That's not very useful, I'm afraid. But, I mean, it might get us to where we need to be. I have no idea how much science we have right now, because I didn't even look at how much we're going to get from the transmissions here. And in fact, we can probably get a second over Eve transmission. It's going to not give a lot, but it'll give some science. I guess we may as well grab them, if I can not hiccup. That would be nice. Grab that gravity scan as well. Oh, we can gravity scan over every biome. That's right. I forgot about that. Okay, so we're going to transmit this right now. There we go. As soon as that's done, which it now is, isn't it? No, it's only 50% with one of the data. 100% done with that. Now it's uploading the third piece of data. Okay, now it's done. We'll just lock to that maneuver node. Burn time is 5 seconds, so we're gonna want to burn this, if I can talk, at 2.5 seconds, so right now. Okay. There we go. That'll do. And then I'm just going to warp around. I'm going to turn on time warp stopping. And I'm just going to gather data at these locations, transmit it back. And we're going to do this for a couple of minutes. There's like 2 minutes left in the episode. So that's not going to be enough to do all of this. I'm probably going to do the rest off camera, because this is not amazingly interesting. But the technique that I use, if you're new to my KSP playthroughs, is I just create an empty maneuver here, just to mark our start point. And then I just warp around using the X Science Here and Now window with time warp stopping. And then every time we enter a new biome, it'll automatically stop the time warp, grab the data, transmit, and proceed. So that's pretty much the way I do this. So let's go. This is at 50x time warp. I want to be much higher. So yeah, new situation in space high over Midlands. So we'll just grab all that, and we'll transmit it. I don't think the temperature scan and the atmospheric pressure scan are actually different over the Midlands, if I'm honest. So I think that's kind of a waste of time. We should only be doing the gravity scan. That'll speed this up substantially. Because then we don't have to wait for the antenna to transmit the other two that we already have. So I'm just going to be doing the gravity scan from here on out. It should be just about done. There we go. So now we'll warp forward. Lowlands. Gravity scan. Transmit. And yeah, we don't have enough battery charge to do the full transmission, so it takes some time. But there we go. So it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to cut out the remainder of getting the science over here, but I'm going to fly around and do it on my own off camera. And then next episode, we are going to be Midlands. Did we already get Midlands? I don't know. The X Science window isn't working properly. Next episode, we're probably going to be going back to Kerbal R&D program. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you all next time.